Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it. Today you had a packed class with a lot of students from, pretty sure from the ages from like 7
Oh yeah.
to teenagers.
Yeah.
What was that like today?
Today was crazy because there were so many little ones and then there were so many adults. So it was like a crazy packed class in a room that looks like it would hold a lot of people, but it was crazy because there's all different levels taking today, but I only teach at a professional advanced level. But a lot of the kids that are really little, like 6 and 7 and 8, a lot of them are just as advanced as the older ones. So that's why they take my class and they like to come and dance with the older ones. But it was super full out. The energy was crazy. Everyone was excited. I was excited. I always love coming to New York to teach because the energy is a lot different here than in LA, because those dancers, you know, they get us every week or every month, or they get us when they can. And it's just overly energizing and exciting in New York because they never get me, you know? So it's always really, really cool to come back and feel like super welcomed and appreciated. And yeah, it was awesome.
Understood. Mm-hmm. So speaking of kids, let's take it back with you, taking it back to your childhood or maybe your teens when you first got the inspiration to dance. Take us back to that.
So I actually started when I was 4 years old, and I started in like a ballet tap combo class. My cousin was a dancer, and so her mom told my mom to put me in. And what's funny is that now she's a lawyer and I'm a professional choreographer, which is really funny. But yeah, so I started competing when I was 5, then got into jazz classes. I took gymnastics for a year. And then at the age of 12, I started assisting my dance teacher. And then at the age of 14, she gave me my first class. At the age of 17, I co-directed my first ballet company. So I actually come from the ballet world, and directed my first ballet company at the age of 17. And then at the age of 19, I started hip hop classes in Arizona, where I'm from. I'm from a small town, Yuma, Arizona, and started hip hop classes there because it wasn't offered to us in our studios in Arizona because it's so small. And then at the age of 21, I moved to LA, and it took me about 3 years to get an agent. I started in a professional dance company for a year when I first moved to LA, and then I decided to really go in and do the industry route and audition for agents. Finally got an agent, got my first huge break in 2004 dancing and touring with Beyonce. And so toured and I did movies as a dancer, commercials, everything you could think of, live stage, all the award shows for about 12 years. And then I transitioned on to choreography. So that's where I'm at now. But I've always been a teacher. I've always traveled around the world to teach workshops and intensives. And so teaching is actually my #1 passion above even performing and choreographing. So this is definitely something that I'm going to continue to do even when I'm not choreographing professionally anymore. But yeah.
Through that journey, what were some of the biggest lessons that you learned to help propel you to where you are now?
One of the biggest lessons I learned, and I think what keeps me still going today or feeling very confident in myself today, is knowing that a lot of it isn't personal. So being on this side now of the table, basically seeing what we look for as choreographers or casting directors, and understanding that it's not just about your dancing. As a performer, you go to these auditions, you put your best outfit on, you go out there, you are full out, you think you're killing it, and then you get cut or you don't book the job, and you never understand why, because they don't tell you. You know, it's not their job to tell you, but you always take it personal. The performer always usually takes it personal, like, well, they just don't like my dancing, or they don't like me, or I'm this and I'm that. And it's actually so much more that goes into it. We look for dancers, you know, maybe that are the same height. We look for diversity. If we already have a Latin girl, I'm probably not going to book another Latin girl. You know, we need, you know, someone light skinned. We need a white girl. We need, you know, whatever the case is, whatever the specs are for that particular job. There's so much that goes into it. Also, people knowing you and knowing how you work and having your work ethic. So, you know, when I was a dancer, it was always like, wow, why do those same 5 dancers book every single job? It's like, oh, choreographers only hire their friends. You know, people have like that kind of negative mentality, like, oh, they're only gonna book their friends. Like, you know, they're just doing this audition for the hype of it or whatever. And now being on this side, it's not just about booking your friends. It's about booking dancers that you trust, that you know are going to do the choreography like you asked them to do it, that have great work ethic, you know they're going to be on time, you know they're going to be professional, you know that they work well with others, and there's so much that goes into it. So knowing that it wasn't a personal thing, and just knowing that I've always gone full out and gone all the way in, whether it be dancing or choreographing. So now as even a choreographer, like if I don't book a job, it's not a personal attack on me. It's just I'm not what they're looking for, but that doesn't mean I'm not good. Like I know my work is quality, I know it's great, and it's not gonna be for every artist, and that's okay. But as long as I'm not going in on a job and being super lazy or not putting my best, then I would have something to feel upset about or feel rejected in a way, but I don't. I do what the music tells me to do with, you know, whatever direction I'm giving. And if that's just not the type of work they're looking for, then cool, then it's on to the next job. And I've continued to book other jobs. I've been able to be consistent with what I do because I've never allowed that mentality of feeling rejected to ever get to me. And a lot of times dancers will do that, and that starts like breaking their spirit. And that's when they start dancing differently and then they give up. I've seen so many dancers and choreographers go home because it just isn't happening for them quick enough, or they just don't think it's gonna happen. And what I like to tell dancers all the time is I didn't even start booking consistently until I was 26. And I moved to LA when I was 21. Now, it took me that long to start booking consistently, and it's different for everybody. So sometimes when you see a dancer move in their first year and they are just on every job, you think like, oh, well, that's how it's supposed to happen, and it's just not gonna happen for me. That's not the case. It usually doesn't happen like that. There's very special situations where it does. And once I turned 26, I don't know if it's because I became comfortable in my own skin that I started dancing differently and carried myself with more confidence, or if it was just the experience, you know? I was more seasoned. I knew, I was more educated and knowledgeable in my field. So I don't know, it's different for everybody. And for me, there was no other option. There wasn't going back home, moving back to Arizona to do what, you know what I mean? So this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. So why am I in such a rush to get to where? You know what I mean? Like if you get to the top so quick, then you have nowhere to go from there, nothing to strive for. So for me, I've always been super patient with my work and the level I'm at and how my success is carried and growing, because this is what I'm gonna do forever. So there's no rush for me, and I think that's helped me become successful because I'm patient with it, and timing for me is everything. And I won't accept a job or go into it unless I'm mentally prepared and feel knowledgeable enough in the field and for that particular job to do it. So it's not like I need the money, I'm gonna go and do it. For me, it needs to be passionate. Like it has to be a passion project for me, whether the money is great or not. But I also have to know that I can execute it like how it should be done. So that's big for me. Sorry, I talk a lot. I talk a lot, yeah.
Dance moves, sometimes you just sit and listen to people. So, I
Cool.
understand, and I'm grateful for that. Where do you see dance going? Because you've been able to see it go from like a background dancer to now, you know, there's big investments in it. There's shows, there's commercials. It's just like it's growing. Like every single week you see something new. Like, oh, that's my career in that commercial. So where do you think ultimately the industry wants to do with dance because it's always been like a background thing, but now
Right.
you're bringing it to the forefront. What do you think they ultimately want to do with it?
Right. What's funny is that I feel like we can never know where it's heading next, because I don't think anyone was prepared for where it's at today as far as social media is concerned. Who would have ever thought, like 10 or 15 years ago, when everything was about experience and connections and being knowledgeable in what you do and being like the best dancer to do something or to book a job, like who would have ever thought, like, oh, in a few years, social media is what's going to carry this industry. You know what I mean? It's crazy because I now am on both sides. So I am old school. I do come from a place where working hard and paying your dues is what it was to make it in the industry. And now it's like, if you have, you know, a few 100,000 followers, you're booking jobs quicker than probably someone with more experience than you, but doesn't have a big social media following. So for me, I fell upon the social media world accidentally. So it wasn't something that I tried to go out and get. It just happened from me posting some of my work, but I've always posted my class videos. Since YouTube started, I want to say in like 2006 or something like that, I've always posted class videos. So me posting class videos isn't new, it's just social media is new, and now we're just using better cameras. But if you go on my YouTube channel, you will see like class videos dated back to like 2006. So because, you know, I used an amazing videographer combined with my work, it went viral. So I am grateful for that. At first I was kind of against it because I was like, no, I don't want to be known as like a YouTube star. Like, you know what I mean? Like I want people to really know my name for my work alone and just know that I have a lot of experience. And so I was against it at first, but now I'm very grateful for it because I get jobs both ways. I get jobs from my agents and my dance reel. I'm sorry, my choreography reel, not my dance reel. And I get jobs off of social media based off of my numbers and my YouTube videos. I've booked so many like kid commercials and films choreographing just based off of my YouTube videos. You know, people always say like, oh, I found you, I saw a video of yours. You know, I saw, you know, YouTube video of yours, and it's so crazy to me, but it's like, I'm thankful because at the end of the day, it's still my work. And at the end of the day, I am very knowledgeable in my field, and I do have over a decade, almost 2 decades of experience in this. So I know, and I'm very confident that if I do book an industry job from my social media, I know it's still gonna be great. I know what to do with it. You know, I've had the best mentors, I've assisted the best choreographers in the world, and I've choreographed for a million artists myself and commercials and films. So I'm grateful to have another platform to showcase my work and not just my choreography reel that's on my agency website. So it's really cool. It brings in more work.
I think also meaning that if social media did die tomorrow, you still can work because you put in the work.
Absolutely, yeah, because I've put in the work. So where I think it's gonna go now, it's pretty incredible because I almost feel like there might be a way to kind of go in a full circle as far as like, think about the dancers that were famous. I mean, way back in the day, like the early 1900s, and they were just a household name and they were dancers. Do you know what I mean? Household names and they were dancers. And I feel like what social media has done is created stars out of dancers. We know dancers' names now. You know, a lot of times when back in the day, if you were backup dancing, you were just someone's backup dancer. It was very rare to have your own name out there as an artist, you know? So I think it's really cool that dancers are now being showcased as artists, you know, as their own artists, and people are starting to know our names, and people are recognizing us and appreciating us for our work. So that's really, really, really cool. And I honestly think that dance has always been around, and it's always been appreciated, but nobody knew how great it was or how hard it was. It was very like, oh, dancing is fun, dancing is a hobby, you know. But I think people now are starting to understand that it is a sport, and it's taking a while to get there, but I think we're getting there. People are starting to respect us a little more and treat us differently, which is really, really cool.
So, are you currently working on anything that's going to be groundbreaking for you?
I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but I think I'm still working with Nicki Minaj right now, which is really, really great. So we just did billboards, and then we did the NBA awards, and right now I'm currently choreographing her new music video. So that's what I'm working on right now. Baywatch is out, and I choreographed a scene in that movie. And actually, okay, you're right. That kind of really is groundbreaking, because for me as a choreographer, you're right. Yeah, because Baywatch isn't a dance film, you know, it's a comedy, and so I was brought in to choreograph a scene on an actor, on a comedian, which was really amazing. And there were no dancers in the film, like it was just him, and oh my God, it was like one of the greatest experiences, because they were so excited to have me as a choreographer, because they know my name, and like the director's like a fan of my work, my class videos, which is really, really crazy. And one of the original creators of Baywatch used to be a dancer. So she knows my work and stuff too. So it was really cool. Like they were so like excited to have me there, and it's not normally like that, you know. It's like usually the choreographers are like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm working with, you know, such and such director, such and such actor, and it was really cool for them to be like, oh my God, we got Tricia Miranda to choreograph the film, you know. It's so insane that it's like that, but it was such an amazing time. They treated me so well. The actor was incredible. He did an amazing job, and the dance piece came out really hilarious. So I'm super proud of that. I think it's really cool to have my name alone as the choreographer on the film, because a lot of times, you know, choreographers will get hired under certain people, you know, either under another choreographer with a bigger name or under a creative director. So to have my name on it by myself is really, 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 really cool and special. So
How have you kept your ego in check? And what is your advice to the younger dancers doing that? Like you said, they'll get booked right away. Like,
yeah.
keep your ego in check with all this.
With me, I think I've never been one to have a big ego. I think just because of where I come from and my family upbringing, and just, I don't know, like for me, I don't ever really feel like I've made it. So there is no ego to be had, you know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm always like, I'm a Capricorn, so I'm super perfectionist. I'm like super like success driven, and I'm crazy, right? So for me, it's like, I need to do better. Like, I'm my worst critic. And so even when people like something of my work, I'm like, I wish it was better. Like, I could have just done this, you know? Like, my assistants hate me because I'm always like, they're like, how'd you like the performance? And I was like, I mean, it was great, but you know, and they're like, oh, so they always think like they did bad. And I'm like, no, you guys like were incredible. It's just me. Like, I could have done way better. I could have done more. And they're like, T, what are you talking about? You're crazy. Like, it was so full out. You had people doing all these crazy things. Like, how could you know, whatever. But, so I don't ever feel like I've made it. And I know for me, at the end of the day, we're all just people. Like, I don't get starstruck with artists or celebrities of anything. I've always just been like, well, they're just people. even as a child, like I was a fan of Michael Jackson, I was a fan of whoever, but I was never like looked at them as these gods, So for me, it's like, this is just my job and it's my passion and it's what I do. But it doesn't make me better than anybody else, just because I was lucky and blessed and I worked hard to get these jobs and to get, my success and to get following on social media doesn't make me better than somebody more knowledgeable than me, So yes, I have a lot of followers, but most of the followers, a lot of them aren't even dancers, So if you think about it, like a lot of followers for a lot of these people that have millions of followers, they're not even in our field. They just love our work. And so they follow it. So why does it even matter who's following us? Do you know what I mean? So why would that ever make you feel like you're grand and you're this when it's not like all these amazing celebrities are following us. Like we get a few, that follow us, but even if they did follow it, like I do have some celebrities following me, it doesn't mean anything. I'm not like the coolest person on the block because, so I think that's just what we're all human. And for me, it's very important to be super personable with the kid, especially with the babies. I don't ever want them to feel like I'm not tangible. You know what I mean? I always make sure I take pictures with all my kids. I always make sure I give them hugs. I always make sure I talk to them after class. I always make sure to give the kids advice if they need advice. So it's important to me that I'm very personable with them and humble with them, so they know not to act like that ever, when they become super successful and just, it's just better to be good humans, great humans, and not be an intimidating soul to these kids. You want to be somebody great for them to look up to, and you want to be nice and inviting to them. So I don't ever like the kids taking my class like scared because of a certain persona. Like I want them to feel super comfortable with me. So
Yes, no, that's true. Because we interviewed, I forget the little girl's name, that you had her on the awards with Nikki.
Oh, Hayley.
Yes. Hayley.
Yes.
She spoke more about the experience with you than the actual experience with being on the award. Like she spoke so much. So
I love her. Yeah.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
You're definitely on the right track with that.
Thank you so much.
Final question. Is there anybody you want to thank for helping you on your journey so far?
Oh my God, absolutely. There's so many people I want to thank. I'm on a convention called The Pulse, and some of my mentors are on that convention as faculty people, but Brian Friedman has always been my biggest inspiration. Tina Landon was like the biggest inspiration of my entire life. Like I wanted to be the next Tina Landon, but I barely met her for the first time, I think last year. Tice Diorio, Gil Dildalao, Chris Judd, Lorianne Gibson. Like these are people, Dave Scott, that I've always looked up to, and I followed their careers for a long time. And Brian Friedman especially, like he's always just been super humble, I think. Like, yes, he's Brian Friedman, and yes, of course, he dresses very well and he carries himself a certain way as he should because he's Brian Friedman, but he's always been somebody that's helped me out. He's hired me to choreograph underneath him at times. I've assisted him, and then he was a creative director for X Factor and hired me as one of the choreographers. So he actually helped me out a lot in with getting my name out there on my own, because he hired me as the choreographer and would actually post my name in the credits as well. So he's amazing, and I think just as a businessman, he's helped me learn a lot on the business side and not just about steps and choreography. I mean, from styling to staging to moments to everything is just, he just gets it, So, yeah. Thank you guys so much.